Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Pentagon officials recently dropped a bombshell by confirming that a mysterious craft seen over California is completely real. This is a key detail because it changes everything we thought we knew about our skies.
An investigative filmmaker has obtained footage captured back in July 2019 of the unidentified flying objects.
Everyone is obsessed with the footage from San Diego showing triangular shapes hovering over the Navy. There are still many rumors on the air, but what many can confirm is that these objects moved in ways our technology cannot copy. See? This is not just another grainy photo. It is a verified event that happened right off the coast. The truth is much stranger than anyone expected to happen.
One just sped up to 46 knots, 50 knots, closing in. Actually 38 knots. Going fast.
Swarming objects near San Diego. The objects were not just sitting there. They were part of a larger swarm that harassed multiple Navy ships in the area for several days. We are talking about the USS Russell, the USS Kidd, and the USS Rafael Peralta, all seeing the same thing. Some of these triangular forms were seen as low as 700 feet over the deck of the ships. Imagine being a sailor on watch and seeing a glowing pyramid just a few hundred feet above your head. It did not have wings, and it did not have any visible engines. What most people do not realize is that these objects were moving through high winds that should have tossed a drone around like a toy. Instead, they stayed perfectly still, or moved with total control. So here's the deal with the evidence. The Navy also captured images of other shapes during that same month. There was a sphere, an acorn, and even something that looked like a metallic blimp. These were not just glitches on a screen. They were physical objects that the military officially calls unidentified aerial phenomena. For a long time, people thought these might just be out-of-focus lights or a camera trick called bokeh. Some skeptics said that the triangular shape was just the way the camera lens saw a regular drone light. However, the Navy radar operators were also picking up these targets. This means it was not just a camera trick. Something was actually there in the physical world. The crazy part is that these sightings happened in one of the most protected areas of the ocean. This is where our most advanced ships and jets train for war. If these were just civilian drones, the owners would have been in a lot of trouble for flying so close to military vessels. But nobody ever stepped forward to claim them. And get this, the way these things moved was far beyond what any commercial drone can do today. They could stay in the air for hours, far longer than any battery-powered quadcopter. Nobody expected this to happen, but it has forced the Pentagon to take the mystery seriously. They even started a new task force just to look into these specific California cases. Basically, the government is admitting that they do not know what is flying in our restricted airspace. They are not saying it is aliens, but they are saying it is real, and it is not ours. This is a massive shift from the old days when the military would just say people were seeing weather balloons. Now we have high-quality sensors and multiple witnesses all telling the same story. The data shows that these objects can appear and disappear on radar almost instantly. They move through the air with a level of precision that makes our best pilots look like they are standing still. It is one of the most overlooked aspects of the whole story. While everyone looks at the grainy video, the radar data is what really scares the experts. A lot of people are confused about why the Pentagon would admit this now. Some think it is a way to get more money for military spending. Others believe they are slowly preparing us for an even bigger reveal. What we do know is that the California coast has become a massive hotspot for these encounters. It is hands down the most active area for military sightings in the last 10 years. Every time a new ship goes out to train, the crew is now told to keep their cameras ready. They know that something is out there watching them, and they know it is not a bird or a plane. Something even more strange was hiding just beneath the waves during these encounters. Unexplained acceleration. Off San Diego. If the pyramid shapes were not enough to convince you, then the story of the tic-tac will. This happened a bit further back in 2004, but the Pentagon authenticated the video at the same time as the California sightings. 2 FA-8 fighter pilots from the USS Nimitz were told to investigate a radar target off the coast of Southern California. When they arrived at the coordinates, they saw a white, oblong object about 40 feet long. It looked exactly like a giant tic-tac candy. It was hovering just above the surface of the ocean, causing the water to foam and churn as if something much larger was underneath it. It was a multi-sensor event involving radar on the ground, radar on the ships, and cameras on the jets. The Pentagon kept this video secret for over a decade before finally admitting it was genuine. They confirmed that they still cannot explain how that object moved the way it did. The crazy part is that the tic-tac showed what experts call transmedium capability. This means it could move through space, the air, and the water without changing its shape or slowing down. Sailors on the USS Princeton reported seeing these targets on their screens diving straight into the ocean. When our ships tried to find them using sonar, the objects were gone. This has led many to wonder if there is something hidden deep in the Pacific Ocean that we haven't found yet. Everyone is obsessed with looking at the stars, but the answers might be right here in our own backyard. One of the most overlooked aspects of the tic-tac case is the effect it had on the pilots. These are some of the most highly trained observers in the world. They do not get confused by birds or balloons. They describe the object as behaving like it was aware of them. It was playing a game of cat and mouse. When the pilot moved left, the object moved left. When the pilot tried to circle it, the object mirrored the move perfectly. It was showing off technology that is hundreds, if not thousands of years ahead of anything we have in our inventory. Hands down, this is the most compelling evidence ever released by a government agency. So here's the deal. If the Pentagon says these videos are real, we have to ask who made the craft. It cannot be Russia or China, because they would have used this technology to take over the world by now. If you can fly from California to New York in a few minutes, you don't need a normal military. It is not that simple to just say it is a secret U.S. project either. If we had this tech in 2004, why are we still using rockets to get into space? Why are we still using jet fuel? The pieces of the puzzle just do not fit together. The secrets being kept might be coming from people inside the government itself. Government disclosure tension. Recently, the drama has moved from the cockpit to the halls of Congress. A former intelligence officer named David Grush came forward with some shocking claims. He told lawmakers that the government has a secret program that has been recovering crashed craft for decades. He even mentioned that they have found things that are not of human origin. While the Pentagon officially denies this, many people believe the confirmation of the California UFOs is just the tip of the iceberg. They think the government is trying to reveal the truth slowly so that people do not panic. But here's the catch. Lawmakers are getting frustrated. They are tired of being kept in the dark about what is flying over our military bases. They held a massive hearing where pilots testified under oath about their encounters. These pilots explained that seeing these objects is a daily occurrence for some flight crews. It is not a rare event. It is happening all the time. One of the most overlooked aspects of these hearings is the safety risk. If these objects are flying around without transponders, they could easily collide with a Navy jet. This makes the mystery a matter of national security, not just a curiosity for fans of science fiction. The crazy part is how much information is still classified. Even though the Pentagon confirmed the videos are real, they haven't released the full data from the sensors. We only see the grainy black and white footage, but the military has high-definition color images and detailed radar tracks. They claim that releasing this would show our enemies how our sensors work. A lot of people are confused about this excuse. They feel that the truth about what these objects are is more important than protecting sensor secrets. This tension is creating a lot of rumors on the air about what is really being hidden in the basement of the Pentagon. Nobody expected this to happen, but whistleblowers are now claiming that private defense contractors are the ones actually holding the craft. They say the government gives the recovered tech to companies so that it can be studied away from the eyes of Congress. This would mean that the most advanced technology on Earth is being held by people who are not elected by the public. This is a key detail because it means there is no oversight. We don't know what they have found or what they are doing with it. The crazy part is that some people think we have already learned how to fly these things. See, the disclosure process is like a slow leak. First, they say the videos are real. Then, they say they don't know what they are. Now we have people saying we have the craft in our possession. What many can confirm is that the pressure on the government to tell the whole truth is higher than it has ever been. Everyone's obsessed with the idea of a formal announcement. People want to know if we are alone, or if there is something else out there watching us. And that's putting it lightly. For some, the silence from the government is proof that the truth is too big for most people to handle. Basically, we are living through a historical moment. For the first time, the military is not laughing at the topic. They are taking it to Congress and asking for more resources to study it. They are admitting that our skies are not as private as we thought. But as they reveal more about the craft, people are starting to look toward the water for the real source. The deepest parts of the ocean might be hiding the most terrifying truth of all. Warp drive possibilities. The persistent sightings over the California coast suggest a reality far more complex than simple visitors from a distant star system. While the public remains fixated on the heavens, a more grounded and perhaps more unsettling possibility is that these craft are emerging from the depths of our own oceans. The frequency of sightings near the Channel Islands, particularly the tic-tac and the pyramid-shaped swarms, points to a localized presence that is not merely passing through our atmosphere. Pilots and radar operators have documented these objects performing maneuvers that defy the laws of fluid dynamics, moving from 20,000 feet to the surface and then diving straight into the water without any discernible deceleration or impact spray. This capability, known as transmedium travel, indicates a mastery over physical matter that renders the boundary between air and water irrelevant. In our current understanding of physics, hitting the ocean at several hundred miles per hour would result in the total destruction of any known airframe. These objects, however, treat the water-air interface as if it does not exist, suggesting they manipulate a local field to eliminate friction and resistance entirely. This leads directly to the theory of a permanent, non-human installation located off the coast of Malibu. Researchers have highlighted a specific underwater structure, a massive flat-topped plateau supported by distinct pillars, visible on sonar and satellite bathymetry. While geologists argue these are natural formations, the geometric precision is difficult to ignore. If an advanced intelligence wanted to remain undetected while monitoring human activity, the deep ocean is the perfect sanctuary. We have mapped the surface of Mars with greater detail than the floor of the Pacific. At depths where the pressure would crush a standard submarine like a tin can, a civilization utilizing advanced materials and energy sources could operate with total impunity. This would explain the Navy's constant encounters in these specific warning areas. We are not being visited. We are being patrolled. The craft are likely defending or monitoring the perimeter of their own habitat, which happens to overlap with our military testing grounds. The mechanics of their movement suggest an even wilder technological reality, the manipulation of space-time itself. The absence of wings, rotors, or any visible means of propulsion like jet exhaust implies the use of a metric engineering solution, similar to a theoretical Alcubierre drive. By compressing space in front of the craft and expanding it behind, the object remains stationary within a warp bubble while the bubble itself moves. Because the craft is not technically moving through space but moving with it, the occupants would feel no g-forces, regardless of how fast they accelerate or turn. This explains why a tic-tac can drop from 60,000 feet to hover just above the waves in less than a second. It also suggests that these entities may not be traveling across three-dimensional space at all. If they can bend the fabric of reality, they might be ultra-terrestrials, beings that reside in a higher dimension or a parallel version of Earth that occupies the same physical coordinates as our own. They aren't coming from another planet. They are sliding through a thin membrane that separates our reality from theirs. There is also the breakaway civilization hypothesis, which posits that a secret group of humans achieved a massive technological leap in the mid-20th century and has been operating independently ever since. This theory suggests that the massive influx of funding into black budget programs following World War II resulted in the discovery of anti-gravity or zero-point energy. If a small elite group possessed this technology, they would have every reason to stay hidden. To reveal such a power source would collapse the global energy economy and shift the balance of power overnight. Instead, they operate from hidden bases, perhaps underwater or within remote mountain ranges, watching the rest of humanity struggle with archaic fossil fuels. This would make the UFOs our own technology, but developed by a faction that no longer considers itself part of the standard nation-state system. Alternatively, we must consider the future human or chrononaut theory. If time is not linear but a landscape that can be navigated, these craft could be our own descendants coming back to observe pivotal moments in history. The heavy concentration of sightings around nuclear facilities and carrier strike groups supports this. From a historical perspective, the invention of the atomic bomb and our subsequent environmental decline represent a great filter moment for the human species. Our descendants might be studying us the way we study archaeological ruins, perhaps even attempting to make subtle surgical interventions to prevent a total planetary catastrophe. This would explain why they are so elusive. Any direct contact could create a temporal paradox that wipes out their own existence. They are ghosts in the machine of history, watching their own origin story unfold. The zoo hypothesis offers a more chilling perspective. Under this theory, Earth is a controlled environment, a laboratory or a nature preserve. The aliens are the caretakers or researchers, and their primary directive is to observe without interference unless the specimens become a threat to the larger ecosystem. This would explain the sentience often attributed to the craft. They don't just fly, they react to our sensors and tease our pilots, testing our technological progress. If we are an experiment, our sudden leap into space and nuclear weaponry would naturally trigger increased surveillance. We are like a new predator in a fenced-in park that has just learned how to pick the lock. Whether they are deep-sea residents, interdimensional travelers, or our own future kin, the era of human exceptionalism is over. We are no longer the apex predators of the sky. We are the ones being watched, and the answers likely lie not in the stars above, but in the dark, pressurized silence of the deep Pacific. The world hasn't just changed. It has been revealed to be much larger and more crowded than we ever dared to imagine. Do you think the government will ever tell us the full truth about these objects? Could there be an underwater base right off the coast of California? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more mysteries.